What's going on, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Really do appreciate being here. If you are new here, hey, how you doing? I'm Chris and I'm building a business that suits my lifestyle. Now, there's a really important topic that I believe is impacting and is relevant to an eBay reseller or a reseller or someone with a small business, and that is complacency. And that's the topic that I want to talk to you about today, because I think it's something very relevant to all of us when building a business, but also just trying to achieve more and do more. Now, if you are an eBay reseller, or maybe you flip on the side, or you've got it as a bit of a side hustle, you're going to want to buckle up, because I believe complacency, it can ruin the gig for you. Now, that is what we're talking about today, but if you do stick around, I'm also going to take you through how the business has gone for this week 119, and also I'll show you some show and tell. Let's dive in. So first off, let's actually define what complacency means. If you're unsure, let me read it out to you. Essentially, complacency is when we get to a comfortable or current level of our ability to do, or in most cases, success. Yes, that's okay. You can define success at certain parts in your life, and it's usually when we get too comfortable with our current level of success and we stop pushing ourselves to grow or to improve. Now, some might say isn't that a good problem? Like, we get to where we want to be and we start to tail back. Yes and no. The problem with this is we get to new levels of comfort. We flatline. We don't see growth. We think things become a little bit too boring or too repetitive, and we assume that we've got it all figured out as well. That's usually the biggest reason for complacency, is because we're comfortable. We get comfortable with how we're living or how we're doing or how we're operating. Now, as I said, there's nothing wrong with being comfortable with where you're at. It's depending on where you want to be, that comfort starts to become something which actually becomes the reason why we are unable to continue to move forward. Which leads me to my next point, the dangers of complacency. The real big problem of complacency is that it pulls us back, or it holds us back from our ability to reach our full potential. Now, in this case, we're talking about eBay reselling, we're talking about having a small business online, we're talking about if you're just trying to do a little side hustle on the side, whatever it may be, whether you're a full-timer, part-timer, or something in between. It doesn't matter. Most of the time we are building a business, so most of the time we're doing this as a hustle with two reasons in mind. One, to have a sense of purpose, because we want to build something, we want to create something, or we want to have something that gives us a result. In that case, to make lots of money. Now, if we're not actively looking for ways to improve our eBay business, if we're not looking for ways to continue to keep that consistency, well, we're likely to fall behind. And it's not about falling behind competitors, but it's actually more so about that we're able to miss out on valuable opportunities or the ability to slingshot the business. It's actually almost as similar to cliche meme or cliche picture that we see, which describes someone or two people actually digging through a mine. They're digging and digging and digging and digging, and he has yet to find his diamonds, and he gives up, and you can see that the diamond is almost there. Now, this isn't to do with comfort, but he gives up too early. What I'm trying to say is that because we become comfortable too early, therefore we actually miss out on the opportunity for the business to snowball, to actually get the momentum that it needs to grow. Or we actually stop looking in places where we need to be looking because we feel like, no, this is all good, I can ride this out, and this is going to get me to where I want to be. The problem is, if we always do what we've always done, we'll always get what we've always gotten. We do need to spice things up and change things up in order for us to grow, to expand, and to see new changes. I digress, but essentially, it's more that we lack the ability to actually convert our small wins into the motivation to move forward. That's really where we go wrong. Basically, in short, we assume we've got it all figured out, or we get too comfortable. Now, for me, look, I'll put my hand up and say this has happened to me so many times. I'll be honest about it. I've experienced complacency too many times over the business, and I probably will again in the future, but it's important that we do recognize it. And I'll give you some examples. Sometimes it usually just comes down to just getting too comfortable and enjoying the ride. And again, I'm not here to say that you have to be working 24/7, you need to be doing this, you need to be growing, but there's nothing wrong with slowing down, and there's nothing wrong with being comfortable. What you need to make sure you understand is that if you want to be at a certain point, getting comfortable is not the thing that's going to get you there. But it's okay to actually soak in, enjoy, have a celebration of the small wins, and actually soak in where you're at and enjoy some downtime, because you've well deserved that from doing all the effort that you've done to get here in the first place. But you can't stay there if you want to move forward. Now, that's happened to me. Sometimes you think, oh yeah, I've got it all figured out, this can work out. And it's not like I'm walking around saying I've got it all figured out, but we get to a point where we feel like, oh, I've got this. But the reality is, when we do get too complacent, when we do get too comfortable, and when we do slow down, we lose motivation, we lose our drive. We also will start to see that our sales or our ability to grow the business starts to get stagnant. It starts to slow down. And from that, you might start to feel frustrated or stuck. A classic example of this might be we're choosing, because we're comfortable, because we think we've got to a new spot where things are just going to be smooth sailing, we start to do little things that actually cause bigger problems over time. I've done this numerous times, listing easy things rather than winning items. Sometimes we might have a whole bunch of things that we know maybe aren't worth a lot, or they're very easy to list. Therefore, we list them because it's like, oh, well, everything's okay. I'm just going to pull back a little bit, take it easy. Again, I'm not here to say you can't take it easy, you can't take a break, that you can't get a little comfortable. There's a time and place for that. But if you've got ambition, if you've got an idea or a goal or somewhere where you want to be, this ain't going to get you there. But it's happened so many times. I've listed $5, $9 DVDs expecting that I'm going to see an uptick of 30, 40, 50%. That's not going to cut it. Rather than listing $30, $40 clothing pieces, which will have a sell-through rate of potentially 30, 40, 50% within the first 30 days. That is where I'm going to get the momentum. That is where I'm going to grow. However, in doing so, I also have to learn. I also have to do a little bit more. I also have to spend a bit more time. I also have to put in the effort to research. And that stuff isn't always that motivating. The same comes with when we have to photograph. Maybe we have to get a bit more technical. Maybe we have to spend a bit more time doing it. And I might not have been bothered to do it, or I'll think, oh, I'll do that tomorrow when I've got a bit more time, and I'll just do this today. Kicking the bucket down the line is another classic way that I've done this in the past, and it's probably a classic way that some of you might be familiar with. We do things that make us feel productive when they're not really, and that is a silent killer. It really does hurt, even though we don't know it in the moment. Another classic example, and I've done this as well, I'm talking about myself here, is I didn't do the proactive steps to check stock, or to work on the business, or to take action of things that's going to enable the business to grow. I've just been so focused on doing, or being comfortable in doing, and not actually being proactive and actually planning ahead to ensure that when things do change, that I'm in the position to enable that change smoothly and smartly. Because sometimes we neglect the harder things we need to do because we're comfortable. We get complacent. Oh no, I know how to do that. I'll figure that out next time. Or we don't sharpen up our skills, or we don't spend the extra time skewing an item, or we don't spend the extra time putting things away, or we don't spend the extra time on ensuring that we're doing processes that's going to continue to build the business from a longevity perspective. Again, talking to myself here, we take things for a given. We assume sales are going to keep coming through. You got 10 sales yesterday, you got 10 sales the day before that, you got 12 sales before that. You're thinking, this is the new baseline. This is what's going to happen. It doesn't work that way. If you start to pull back, things will start to pull back. Now, I just want to say again, I'm not here to tell you that you can't take it easy, that you can't pull back, that you can't be comfortable. What I'm trying to help you understand is that there becomes this tipping point in where we become too comfortable, and the complacency means that we ease off, we don't pay attention, and that's where things can get into a bit of a slippery slope. So, how do we avoid this? What are some of the tips that we can do to avoid complacency? I think number one is understand your goals, and understand if they're ambitious goals or understand if they're just things that you want to achieve. And the reason why there's a difference here is because ambitious goals might be something that you're thinking about 5, 10 years down the line, whereas something smaller or just to keep you going might be something like, I want to earn $100 a week, or I want to earn $200 a week, or I want to profit $1,000 a month. Different goals and different ambitions will also drive how motivated and how ambitious in terms of what you're going to be willing to do. At the same time, by understanding what that ambition is, or what that goal is, will also mean, are you willing to grind it out, or are you going to look at this as a bit of a slog and too much hard work? The next one is actually have a plan. It's great to have goals, it's great to have ambition, but if we don't know what we're going to be doing, how we're going to be doing it, and why we're actually getting there in the first place, well then it's going to make it very difficult. And when we do not have those three areas understood, complacency starts to take over, because we get into this zone where we realize, this ain't bad, I enjoy this is good, and we get comfortable. Again, if that's where you want to be, that's okay. I'm not here to tell you that that's not where you should be. What I'm trying to tell you is make sure you understand the difference, because if you're going to complain that you're not seeing the results you want, if you're going to complain you're not seeing things which aren't working out in your favor, if you're going to complain that it's too hard, if you're going to complain that things aren't what you expected, well, what did you expect? Did you expect it was going to be easy always? Did you expect that things are going to be simple? Do you expect that everyone's just going to buy all your items because you've listed them? There's a lot there to understand, which means you might have to do a little bit more work. Don't get complacent with it. I think the next one that's really important is actually assessing our progress and understanding where are we at and what are we doing. So take the time to evaluate your sales. Take the time to always be constantly checking your feedback from people when you've made a sale. And also looking at other metrics on a regular basis. Now, I'm tracking to some ambitious goals this year. I'm tracking to $100,000, then $160,000, and then I want to get to $250,000 in revenue. I've already surpassed the $100,000 point. Now I'm halfway between 100 and 160,000. So I have a long way to go till I get to the 250,000, but I'm regularly checking. I'm working on different ways on how can I improve, trying to build processes, put plans in place to enable me to start to put extra effort or ability to execute more into the business. Without looking at that, I don't know where I'm at. I don't know how far I'm tracking. I don't even know if I'm meeting the goal. Now I do know, so I know with pure math that, okay, if I keep doing the same, it ain't going to cut it. It's not just going to magically happen. I need to make a change that's going to uplift the sales, or the ability to have bigger and higher ASP, or I need to have more volume of being able to list. There's so many things here. I'm talking to myself here, but these are the things that we need to do on a regular basis. Make it visual, understand what you're trying to track to, and keep yourself accountable. The next one is actually stay up to date with what's happening in the environment. At the moment, at the time of this video, which is 24th of April, we've got a very interesting economic climate. Things are tough. People are struggling to pay bills. People are living check to check, paycheck to paycheck. People aren't necessarily wanting to spend higher dollars. The average sale price might be lower, or people are looking for a quick buck in terms of something for cheapest chips, and they're not willing to spend that top dollar anymore. They're going to shop around. So understand what your competitor is doing. Look around and see what options do you have, or what selling power do you have. Do you have the ability to drop prices? Do you have the ability to sell in a more strategic way? Stay up to date with the industry and see how you can make sure that you are getting the things that you want to enable that motivation to avoid you becoming complacent. When the sales are up, we're going to be motivated because we're going to have to go post those items. Therefore, if we get a taste of something because we're doing something different, we're going to want to be doing more of that or continuing to grow in that area. I think the final point here is looking for feedback and seeking feedback and asking for feedback. Now, yes, we can get this from our customers. That's a standard process via the eBay sales process. However, getting feedback from others, getting people to keep you honest, keep you accountable, and asking for that help, it's not always a bad thing. It can be not what we want to hear, but if we need to grow or we want to grow, sometimes it's what we need to hear. My final point to you is take action. I encourage you. Figure out what it is where you're struggling with complacency. What is it that's making you feel comfortable? Now, a lot of this will come back to different processes and different areas of the business. As you know, as a reseller, we have to source, we have to actually photo, we have to list, we have to then sell the item, we then have to post the item and then deal with the customer. There's a whole bunch of different areas in there where some of us thrive, some of us love, and some of us hate with a passion. I get it. I totally get it. So work on ways how you can work through this. How can we make our lives a little bit easier? How can you try new strategies? How can you look for different ways of operating? How can you set new goals? How can you find ways to enable you to want to go on this journey of success? And remember, yes, success is a journey. It's not necessarily a destination. That's why I said we get complacent when we get to a certain level. That's not the end. Like, it could be your end game. And I'm going around in circles here because if that's what you've set, that's as far as you'll go. Understand what it is what you want. Understand their expectations around there. Understand the effort required. Put that into play. And then you can start pushing yourself forwards towards where you want to be. And that is how we can get past complacency. It is a team effort though. So don't be shy. If you do have questions, comments, thoughts about this, chuck them down below. More than happy to answer. I don't really want to harp on this anymore, but what we put in is what we get out. All right, if you're stuck around this long, I really do appreciate you being here. We're going to dive into what's actually been selling this week and then some show and tell. So what has actually been selling this week? Well, surprisingly, it's been a bit of a weird week, to be honest. It started off a bit slow. We had a couple of high days and then dropped down and high days, and this weekend's been just dead. But that's the reality of it. So as you can see here, the big winner for this week has been a lot of clothing as well, bringing in around $834. Jeans and pants bringing in around $300. So that's another $1,100 of clothing. Electronics were up there, video games were up there, books back up there this week, and DVDs, toys, bric-a-brac, and Lego, coming in not in the high categories, but still pretty lucrative. And as you can see, the big profit is in clothes and electronics. Lego bringing in $1.77 profit, not too bad. It is what it is. In terms of the top items that have been selling this week, I've pulled out 4 different ones that I want to share with you. And again, these aren't necessarily the best items. These are just different ones that are interesting to see what's actually selling. Now, the top item for this week, and this is the top item for this week, is the Killer Instinct Nintendo 64 video game that I picked up just the other week from Savers. The average cost of the good for this worked out to be about $11.79 because of all the purchases. I've been able to sell this for $132. That's with postage. I took an offer. Didn't want to sit around too long on it because at the end of the day, I want to get that cash flow happening, and I've walked away with $89.04 after fees and postage. Top item number 2 for this week was this Ralph Lauren large long sleeve Brave blue denim shirt. Now this one I picked up for $12, got this in a big lot. Been able to sell it for $49.30, that includes postage, and walked away with $24.02 after fees and postage. That went local. Top item number 3, and these books will move pretty quick on a regular basis at the right price, Len Bedell. And his books are all about, out in the bush and beating up the bush and basically creating a lot of the roads out in the outback. I paid $4 for these 3 books. I was able to sell them for $42.97. And looking at this, I can see that I've made $22.92 profit after fees and postage. They do sell pretty quick, and I believe there's 4 or 5 in the set. And the final item I wanted to share with you this week was this black pepper fleece. Now, I knew nothing about this about 4 weeks ago. Found them in a thrift shop, did some research on it, realized, okay, they do move, and especially coming into winter, with the conditions of winter being colder, I thought, why not? Paid an average cost of $3.67 for this one, sold it for $34.30, and after fees and postage, walked away with a quick $15.87. Not too bad. Now, in terms of the whole week, how the whole week has actually progressed, well, week 119, we've done 93 sales. Margin was low this week, 37.27%. Cost of goods sold was $477, so we have paid up to sell this week. Sold $2,365 worth, not too bad. Profit only $881. Ideally, I would have liked this at around 50%, but, it is what it is. Average sale price this week was low of $25.43. Which is quite low considering the last couple of weeks, and then average cycle time was 133 days, which is good to see some of these items moving out that have been sitting around for a while. Lots of DVDs as well. So that's week 119. We're going to dive into some show and tell, show you a few things behind the scenes, and then we'll wrap it up. Howdy team. All right, it is Monday morning and we've got a whole bunch of goodies going out. I think it was 47 items. Might have actually been, my GoPro's all wet from my run the other day. Ew. Sorry. 47 items. We've got quite a lot of interesting variety going out again. So we've got books, we've got a camera case, we've got toys, Lego, robots, we've got cameras going out, we've got electronics going out, we've got more electronics going out, VHS, video games, books, DVDs. We've got all jeans. Jeans have been solid this week with the cooler weather. Some jackets and also a shirt or two. Got some more books and more books. So very interesting to see what's actually going and moving, how quickly it changes as well. So yeah, I must have sold about 6-7 pairs of jeans. I got this nice shirt going over to Saudi Arabia, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it's just always interesting to see what's moving, but I'm not surprised because that's the game we play. Yeah, let's pack it all up, get it all out. This is pretty cool. This one went for about $60 actually. It's just crazy what sells. I'm still continuously surprised. Anyway, it is what it is. Let's pack it all up and get out of here. And we're all done. Not too bad. This never gets old. Right, team, I'll see you when I'm here again. All right, team, welcome to Thursday. I think I'm going to have to get a new GoPro because it's continuing to cause a lot of issues. Anyway, anyway, we're here on Thursday. I've actually just caught up with Roger, a good mate. Roger, you know who you are, of course, but some of you might know Roger. He's in my champion membership group as well. Really appreciate you come and have a coffee, mate. It was really good. I know you were in the area. He swang by, showed him the unit. We had a good chat, and I really enjoy those kind of conversations. So if you are out and about, do let me know and see if we can meet up or have a conversation, because I will do it if I can do it. Anyway, so we're here today and we've got a lot of packages going out. We've got about 44, 45 going out. I'm going to take you through all the goodies in a second. It's been pretty interesting week. Monday was absolutely dead. But over the last 24 hours, things have just shot straight up, been selling lots and lots of shirts. I'm going to show you that right now. All right, so we've got a whole bunch of bundles going out here, lots of Ralph Lauren, but here's what we've got basically going out. We've got more jeans and clothes here, lots of media. There's been so much media today and over the last 24 hours, a few books and things going out as well. Got some bulk games. We've got an Apple, I don't know what this wasn't working, but sold it as parts. We've got Dorothy's Tale going out. This guy, a bunch of books here. I've got some Pokemon. Big shout out to Jason. He's purchased a couple of goodies here, so well done. One sealed and one opened live last night. He did so well. A couple other cards going out to some folks. Got some GameCube. This little guy's gone for about $32 over to New Zealand. It's a chess piece for Simpsons. Total Annihilation Kingdom's going out. Yeah, not too bad. All right, let's pack it all up. All right, team, that's the behind the scenes, and I really do appreciate you being here. If you do have any questions from today's episode, or you want me to clarify anything, more than happy to do so. If you've got comments of your own, or how you've dealt with complacency, or how you manage it, let me know. I would love to know. And again, I want to just re-emphasize that what we put in is what we get out. And I'm not here to say that you can't take a break. Build a business where you can take time off, where you can step away, where you can take it a little bit easier in different parts. But don't expect to have a business where, you do nothing and you get more, because it just don't work like that. Appreciate you being here. You have a wonderful day. Cheers.